The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We wanted to invite you to learn a little bit more about Alexander and Roberts, and Marilyn Ward from Alexander and Roberts is here to talk to us about all things about them. At the end, I will show you guys how you can adjust your preferences within your Nextsite or VacationPort and open it up for questions. So without further ado, welcome, Marilyn.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk to everyone today because I don't get that chance very often. I can't be everywhere, as they say. If you're okay with it, I'm going to close this, our camera view box. I mean, I'll still stay on, but just wanted to make sure I could see the presentation. So again, welcome. I am so glad to be able to share with you an introduction, sort of. I just did like an overview for us today. Some of you may not be new to Alexander and Roberts, and some of you might be. So I thought we'd, kind of keep it fairly general, and then we can get into more specifics down the road if anybody would ever like to have an individual presentation. That's always available. So here we are, an intro to Alexander and Roberts. So let's go ahead and get started. So I know you already see me on the screen, but I like to show these other pictures, mainly the ones in the smaller captions, because these were just some really fun trips that I've had over the years. I've been very, very fortunate to have traveled, fairly extensively. I've been here 23 years, so that gave me a lot of time to do some great trips. Upper left-hand corner, I was standing right outside of the Kremlin in Moscow. That was, I believe, if I'm thinking right, 2009, so 15 years ago. And geez, sadly, who knows if people will ever be going to see Russia again, but so I'm glad I did when I did, that's for sure. Below that, probably everybody will recognize the scene at least. That is, of course, Venice. Upper right-hand corner, we were in India, and just out in Agra, right out where the Taj Mahal is. And this is a hotel called the Oberoi Amar Villas. And all of the rooms there face the Taj Mahal. Can you imagine how cool that would be? Wake up or go to sleep, either one, and see it out the window there. And bottom right-hand corner was my very first opportunity to go on safari. And golly, we were so fortunate because we got to go to not only South Africa, but Botswana as well. And I think that's where we were in this particular shot. So really a fantastic experience. I'm so grateful and lucky for what I've gotten to do. I hope all of you have had some form of opportunities and have even more on the horizon, because I think we all know, if nobody else does, we know that seeing is believing, and gives us the confidence to sell that destination with ease for sure. Now, the first thing I want you to do, if you haven't worked with us before, is go to the home page. I'm going to show you how in a moment, because I want you to join our Alexander and Roberts Rewards program. First of all, it entitles you to one of those beautiful $50 per person bonus bills that you would receive when your client decides to pay in full on their reservation. It's automatic. You don't have to track it. You don't have to do anything but be a rewards member and then the client pays in full. Boom, it happens. Soon as they travel, your check is issued to the agent of record, and of course the address you have put into your profile. So to join it, you just go to the home page, upper right hand corner, and you'll see that advisor button I'm pointing to. You'll click on that, and if by chance you had joined at some point and just didn't remember it, then it'll show you your profile. And if you haven't joined, then you would go ahead and fill out the information, which is just your basic info, your IATA, your agency address, phone number, and password that you choose. So that's all you have to do. And then after you're in, you will also have access to the agent portal, which it looks like a bunch of nothing right there at the moment, but it's that black bar that'll automatically appear on the website every time you sign in and use your password to sign into your profile. We're going to look at what it can do for you at the end of the presentation. So moving along, you will find, I can promise you, if you're talking to somebody, let's say it's about Peru, and that you had heard from a colleague or you had had experience with another traveler who really enjoyed their trip with us. So you were wanting to, recommend that to this new client. So you say, hey, I've got a really good preferred supplier. They do an excellent job there. I'd like to recommend them to you. And they say, well, sure, who is it? And you say, Alexander and Roberts. And they kind of go, huh, well, who? Not quite sure who that is. Well, you can easily go to the home page again, click on that About Us button, and this will come up. All of our history dating back to World War II. And our former name was General Tours up until about, I still haven't been able to recall or ask somebody what year we changed our name to Alexander and Roberts. But at any rate, General Tours just did not say too much about the company. Of course, it was history. It was a part of that. So that's the reason we kept it for so long. And then agents and a couple consumers back in the time that we were considering it said, gee, have you ever thought about changing your name? General Tours just really doesn't say much. And it's true, it didn't. So Alexander and Roberts came from, if you look right below that General Tours logo, you'll see the name Alex Harris. He was our actual founder. So that's the Alexander portion of the name. And then I think it goes into the part about Robert Drum over here on the, the lengthier part of the information. Is Robert Drum worked for Pan Am at the time, and he and Alex were introduced, and that, as they say, was the beginning of history. So that's the name it became, Alexander, Alexander and Roberts. And it's funny, but it really made a big difference to consumers anyway. Agents as well, they probably didn't want to be rude to say, Jesus, I wish you would have changed it a long time ago. But anyway, we did, and it did make a big, big difference. But this is just of interest to some people. They like to know who they're traveling with, especially at a price point with a luxury tour operator, and also traveling, to some of these more exotic destinations. I think it gives them a bit of a comfort level. So feel free to share as much or as little of this as you would like. And then here is the big picture, I like to say. Shows you all of the destinations that we offer around the world, and it is a good amount of them, as you can see. I just noticed today that we're going to add Portugal. We'll find out when I go through the rest of this presentation. I just was thinking about it, and I said, oh, I better look and see if it's on there. And I see that it is not, so we'll get that added. And then across the top are all of our travel styles and some other information that we'll go through, so you know what to expect from those particular buttons. So a lot of places to go and several different ways to go there. So first of all, we feel that we've always been very flexible with our travel styles because we're not all the same. So I don't see how we could expect our clients to be the same either. Some people like to travel in a group, some do not. It's all according to preference, and usually also past experience helps guide people to see what they want to, how they want to travel. With us, the small group journeys is just that, 16 or less. And that's every single departure date. Anything that says small group journeys is going to be that number or less. And I say that simply because a lot of people are raising the small group flag these days. And sometimes that's 30 people, sometimes it's 24, sometimes it's only for certain dates or certain destinations. But ours is a blanket, 16 passengers or less for our small group journeys. And I love to show this picture because it really, well, it kind of gives us the sense of that number, what that would look like. And in this picture, it's taken, of course, in Egypt, and it's one of our tours called Between the Paws. Get it? There they are, standing between the paws. By special arrangement, our guests get to go there on this program and stand between the paws. And you'll see a guy in the back row there, right in the middle, and he will give the guests sort of a presentation, if you will, about the excavations he's been a part of, what they see on the horizon, what they've discovered recently, all that kind of stuff that people are definitely interested in. And I had a friend that was on the tour, and she said, you can't believe how far away from all the other people you are when you're standing there between those paws of the Sphinx. She goes, I wish it was even farther so people could see how special it is. Well, it is special, that is for sure. Speaking of special, gentleman on the right-hand side, dark pants, light colored shirt, sunglasses, bald head, is our president. You'll see him on the inside page of our brochure. And all the rest are travelers with Alexander and Roberts. The other flexible travel style we have is for private journeys, and they are travel any day. That's your key takeaway there. That means that you don't have to worry about trying to line the land up to go along with the airfare that you find, because we can simply adapt to whatever the parameters are of the travel dates that you found a really good airfare for and make the tour go along with the airfare. It really makes a big difference. And of course, you can imagine that it's so very flexible on a private journey, because people, they can make little adjustments to the daily itinerary if they want to. Typically they don't, but they can. That's the important thing, is that they can travel when they want to travel based on what their needs are. Maybe they're celebrating an anniversary, maybe they're using frequent flyer mileage, whatever it might be. The private journeys can really fit the bill. And I will tell you, we have been growing the number of the offerings for the ones that are designed as a private journey very heavily. It's become very popular. And it seems to be something that people really like. So we'll look at that a little bit more down the road, but I wanted to go ahead and show you our flexible travel styles first. And then the other flexibility is with our custom arrangements. We have a team of people that do nothing but put together custom arrangements, either for independent travelers, or sometimes it might be a group. But moreover, it's independent travelers. And with the custom, it's really just wide open, honestly. I mean, there's not hardly any destination we cannot do. We don't do the United States. That's something that we don't profess to do, and haven't done it. We've added a tiny bit of North America. I'm sure we have a mind to add some more, but just haven't gotten to that lately with everything going on. So just know that it's a very simple process. You can either email it, as you see there, that email address, customtravel@alexanderroberts.com, and then someone from the department will field the incoming and distribute those according to people's particular proclivity to be doing a certain group of destinations all the time, so that they know that product really well and they have a rapport with those that they are dealing with in our outer offices. So just know that it's something that we can do, and you'll see in a while that it falls right into the top 10 as far as out of all these products that we have around the world. We also can help you in a lot of ways with FIT requests. I know you roll your eyes every time somebody says, hi, I'd like you to put something together for me. And you know what that means. It's like, uh-oh, I think this sounds like FIT talk. Well, there's ways to help you with some of the tools that we have. One might be these little private short tours. They're in the brochure, they're listed in the back of the book, just like you see it here. This was out of last year's brochure, I think. And so it shows you the type of things that you would expect to see there. Mostly they're little independent modules like you see on the left-hand page for different areas. Those happen to be, within Italy. So we can take and put all of those, or however many you want, of those together and include the private transportation point to point, not private, excuse me, transportation point to point, because it's likely going to be a train or some other method of getting there. And then you'll also see on the right-hand page, there's also some that are full tours, like that Poland's cultural capitals. And that could be because we maybe had it as a brochure product for, many years ago. And for whatever reason, it just kind of dropped off of popularity. So we keep it active, but it stays on the website only, doesn't go into the brochure. So there's a lot of different possibilities here as far as being able to use these for whatever your needs are. Not only the FIT, but you could use them as a pre or a post to an ocean or river cruise. Or sometimes I've had agents tell me that they've used them if the operator they were using for the main tour didn't offer modules like these. So they've added something of ours onto a program that they're working with another supplier. So there's all things are possible when it comes to, taking care of these FIT requests. Now, here's another way I want to show you about private. Now, this is going to be about private again, but it's taking a small group product and making it private. So this one I thought we were talking about Peru Explorer here, but I must have cut that portion of it off. Doesn't matter because it's going to give us what we want anyway. Let's say you're talking about Peru, and they tell you that they're interested in April, and they looked at the Peru Explorer with you, and they liked that itinerary. And you're like, great, we'll get this together. So when this happens, you can see that it's already titled a little differently than the regular small group because it'll say never more than 16 guests or travel privately. And that's going to be your indicator that that can be done. So let's see how this all comes together. Now with that arc, I'm showing you that there's a small group dates and prices, and there's a private journey dates and prices. Column or a header for each. Those are actually buttons. So you've talked to them, they like this itinerary. Now they've told you they want to go in April. There is the April clip off of the website, and I think I already said this, but that shows $53.99. Well, then you would just go back and hit the private journey button, and it'll convert it to a private price, which is $69.99. So it's about $1,600 more per person to have the Peru Explorer, in this case, converted from a small group to something completely private just for your traveling party. So that's available on many different options, and you'll see it just like that. Travel a small group of 16 or less, or travel privately. If you were looking at the brochure, it will say that as well, and it'll show you on the pricing guide page, it'll show the small group rates, and then it'll show below that the private pricing. Now, the reason I'm showing you how to do it via the web is because you're always going to be 100% accurate. Because you know how brochures are after a while, maybe, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months down the road, they're starting to have changes. Not so much content, but usually in some kind of a pricing aspect. So with that in mind, of course, we can't change a brochure, but the web is updated immediately. So if you use this method, you will always be 100% accurate in telling them how much more it would be. Then we also have these we call they're in style, as you see from the name, but they're also in-house, we call them tour builders. And I'm going to show you why. So first of all, we've got that different titling again with the uniquely flexible private luxury journey. And now we're going to look at the map. And on the map, you're going to see that there's just 2 spots that have a black circle with a white numeral on it. One is in Santiago, that shows 1 night, and the other is down in Patagonia, and that shows 3 nights. So that's the core of this package. And I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, well, who's going to buy it with that alone? You'd be surprised. I mean, it could be somebody who took the Around the Horn cruise and then decided to add this on. I don't think that happens very often, but it could. But the way these are designed, moreover, is for you to be able to have different things that you can add on. You saw those brackets just fly in on the opposite page. So there is a listing of 4 different opportunities that you could add on to this program to personalize it and make it exactly what your client is looking for. Because down there, there's a lot of great opportunities, but you could really make this so diverse in terms of where they go in topography. So you've got it in Santiago and Patagonia. You could add on the glaciers in Argentina. You could add on the wine country in Chile. You could add on the desert lodges in the Atacama Desert, which is in northern Chile. You could do so much to this package. And that's what makes it so great. It gives you all of these flexible choices. And then the price in this scenario will be based upon the seasonality of travel dates, of course, and then how many days the program ended up being after you added whatever they wanted from the included options there, or not included, the extra options there. So we have those at the ready and ready to, add those on as needed. And then with that in mind, there's a lot of these in styles. You can see them here on the screen. So what you would do is you would go to the home page again, and right below the travel advisor button, you'll see the trip search button. And in there, instead of typing a destination, type the words in style into the box. And these will all come up so that you could see, gee, I've got so-and-so I'm working on for India, and they want to do this, that, and the other thing. Well, maybe that would work. So it just gives you the opportunity to be able to check some of these out and see if those would work for you. Again, saving you from having to create a full FIT from scratch. Oh, we already did this. Never mind. Okay. So I think this is more about the custom. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had this in there twice, but it's kind of helpful because this shows you the other way you can reach out to the custom team. Go to the home page, click on Tailor Made. Then the landing page will you'll land here about custom journeys and see exactly what it means and what we can do and where we can send the clients. And then lastly, there's this little form to guide you about the information we'd sure like to have to begin with so that we can turn this around in a fairly quick fashion. So you've put all this together and then just click send, and again the process will begin. Someone will feed the email to whoever handles that area. So good to know that you can do these things, I hope. We also have small ships around the world. They are definitely destination driven, not so much a place with numerous ports of call. So you got the Galapagos on the La Pinta, perfect little mid-sized ship, 44 guests. The Pegasus does the Seychelles, also 44 guests. The Tucano has only 18 guests. It's got 9 cabins. That's on the Amazon in the Amazon in Argentina, and then Brazil. And then we have the Nile options as well. We use both of the Oberoi ships, and then we added a new one about 3 years ago called the Historia. It's quite a lovely vessel. Just saw a write-up about that from a client the other day. They really enjoyed it. Then the MV Ushuaia is one of our options for Antarctica. I would say this would be your more budget-conscious client who's looking to do Antarctica but doesn't want to pay those high price points that most of Antarctica costs. So there's that option. And then we also have the Victory, Ocean Victory, or the Albatross. They both look exactly like this one, and that's one of those new builds. So if the luxury version is what your clients want, then that's what I would recommend. And then for the Peruvian Amazon, we have the Aria. Lovely ship as well. Now, unlike some operators, we do not charter these boats for a range of time. We rather negotiate with the company to put the dates on that we are hoping to run our land tour around. And so that works out really well. We've been doing it for, oh God, I don't know, at least 18 years or more. And then what brings all of our travel styles and small ships and all of those things together is our native guides. Every place your clients go with Alexander and Roberts, they will have a guide who grew up in the destination. And if you think that doesn't make a difference, it definitely does. We see it nearly every day when people, either we get the completed form that goes onto the website, or we also get the product managers receive from our local offices around the world the completed comment form so we can see what people are saying. And they mention it a lot. They basically say, gosh, it was so wonderful to learn about the destination we chose by someone who grew up there. He was like a local. Everybody knew who he was or she was, and everywhere we went, we were kind of like celebrities, and it kind of works out that way. So it's good to know. And then when it comes to our accommodation styles, we go all out. We have 4- and 5-star hotels and camps. This happens to be Tokalea. This is in Zambia, and it's on our Journey to South Africa program. They just redid this. It looks so beautiful. Gosh, I can't remember what year I stayed there, but it's been a pretty good while. I think maybe 2015, I think. Maybe 2013, I don't remember. Anyway, this is a lovely property, and the ensuite is right behind the wall of the bed, and then the outer part is this huge deck that has a built-in lower seating area with a couch and pillows, and you can just sit out there and watch the Zambezi River and the animals and so forth. This is Oliver's. This is a little 11-room boutique hotel on our spectacular New Zealand program. It used to be a general store and a stables with some grounds, and the owners converted it to this little boutique property, and people rave about it. You walk out the front door and you are right in the middle of town, as you would be with all of our hotels, or always city center or whatever the situation is. And then we use these beautiful riads. These would be on our Morocco programs, and both tours include 2 consecutive 3-night stays in this style of accommodations. People go absolutely insane over these because they are just what you're looking at. Beautiful tile work. They're all individually done. They were formerly usually homes of the notables in that city. This one happens to be the one in Fez, and that definitely was one of the high-ranking officials' home back in the day. Anyways, people love these accommodations. Here we are with brochures. We just print 2. Unlike all of my colleagues out there that have to manage 8 to 10 brochures, we used to do that many years ago, and I thank the goodness every day that we got rid of those, because it's so hard to keep up with then. If it's just a couple of brochures, if you have it or you don't. So Journeys is on the left there. It's just about to be completed at the printer, and then it'll go over to the distribution center where you can order the brochures off the web, which I'll show you. And we also do an automatic distribution. If you happen to be on that list, you would be the first to receive it. But in the meantime, if you don't think you've been receiving our brochures in the past, then you can go ahead on the web and order them. So Journeys has everything that we do, including Africa, but we do print a separate Africa brochure as well. It's just a good idea to draw attention to it because it's such a high margin product. And so it does work out nicely to have just these 2 brochures. Here is the table of contents in Journeys. So you can see how that's laid out. And you can also see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is that right? 4, 3, yeah, 6 new programs that we've added in this year for this next printing. So we're really excited about that. We always try to come up with something new, and it's fun, but it's a lot of work, as you can imagine. Sometimes it's just an additional styled program to someplace we already do, or sometimes it might be a whole new destination. But as you can see, we added, and I think it's 7 now. I'm going to look at it one more time. Yeah, 7 new programs. Like we were talking about before with the, we were looking at the independent modules, and we saw on the one side it had the cultural capitals of Poland. That's why I'm saying here, always search for the destination on the web. If you have the brochure and you don't see it, either in the table of contents or just flipping through it, then type it into the website, because that's how I found out we still had our cultural capitals of Poland. I couldn't believe we didn't have it, because Alex, our founder, was from Poland. So anyway, you might be surprised what you'll come up with if you just type your information into the trip search and see what comes up. Always important to know everything that's included, of course. On the right-hand side, what you're looking at is a little clip off of a tour page in the brochure. I think it was an African safari program. And what that is for is, first of all, that little clip where it says 12 days at 11,899 and then 11,399. That's always going to be reflecting whatever the pay in full might, or the maximum pay in full is for the brochure life. And then below that, you see everything that's included. It breaks down the entire program, so you can quickly rattle off what is included. And then below that is when you can see the pricing guide and so forth. And here's what I meant too about doing the private version of a small group. See here, this part is the small group listing. And here you see all the fixed dates and their corresponding price. I'm going to be telling you this in a minute, but you see that this particular African safari has no solo supplement on certain dates. And then down here below, travel privately any day. So that's what I meant about you can find it in the brochure, but I'm still recommending that you do it on the website for the reasons I gave you. You will be accurate. And then you got to know what's always included. Maybe that's how you separate your suppliers when you're considering who to recommend for a particular place. So transfers are always included, even if they come early or stay late. All the gratuities, except for the trip leader, wine and beer with evening meals, all the entrance fees and interior visits, and if a program requires internal flights, the cost of those is always included too. So pretty comprehensive as far as inclusions. And then on some of the destinations that are, of course, one thing is very long haul, you know, going to Cairo or Nairobi or Bangkok or something along that order, which is a long ways away, as we know. So on those programs, we include the fast track service. And that means your clients are met at the plane, escorted through the formalities, and then finally to baggage claim, and then out the door to the transportation. The way you'll know if the program includes it or not is day one will include that information. You will be met at your plane side and, you know, kind of give a little dissertation about what that means. So you'll find it on any tour page and day one. And earlier we were kind of talking about this a little bit, the top 10 tour ranking. So you can see Japan's way up there at the top. Safari in Kenya and Tanzania has been standing there for, well, whenever people started traveling again, it seemed like they considered a safe destination. Italy by rail, I don't think we looked at that. No, I did it on another program today. Anyway, it's a great seller, nice little tour builder too. But then I wanted you to see how many customs are in the top 10 tour ranking. So obviously we're doing enough of those to where it makes that much of a passenger count difference to use the custom services. Finland's Lapland, Visions of Vietnam, and Egypt. We're so hopeful that Egypt will soon be on the forefront of travel again. Obviously, people are still a bit concerned about the proximity to the Holy Land and so forth, but we have had people travel, and they're all stating that they felt very safe and comfortable and all that. And of course, finally, the Grand Egyptian Museum opened in October. So it gives people that, you know, if they've been waiting for that to happen or whatever, now it is definitely open and a part of, I'm sure, everyone's Egyptian tours. You're probably going to want to know about guaranteed departures. So with that in mind, you can see this sample on the left side there where it shows those first two 2025 departures are guaranteed. So that's what it would look like. When it's not a guaranteed departure, it'll just say available. And another way you can tell about guaranteed departures besides that is on the brochure page right above the pricing guide. I'm pointing to it there. It says guaranteed departures for that program, which is Egypt. So with that in mind, we know how important guaranteed departures are. Hardly anybody has a full roster of guaranteed departures these days. Just it's not the thing to do. Anyway, so what I can tell you is when it's showing available, you can ask the call center people, what is your minimum number for you to have this be a guaranteed departure. Because since we're only trying to get 16 to begin with, our numbers are much lower than the normal threshold. Sometimes it can be just 2 passengers, 4, 6, 8, somewhere in that neighborhood of people, and then it can become a guaranteed departure. So not only will we tell you how many it takes, we can tell you how many are booked. We will also tell you if you're booking the first 2 so that you can make whatever informed decision is best for you and your client, because we do understand what that means if it's not a guarantee. Once we say, so you see all these ones that say available, once one of those dates becomes guaranteed, we'll change it on the web, just like the 2 before it. And once we do that, even if everybody but 2 people fell out, we would still operate it as a guaranteed departure, because we've already promised that that's what the scenario is. So we're not going to, change our process and make it an unguaranteed departure. So you know what that means anyway. So there you go about guaranteed departures. Solo travelers, remember when we were looking at, let's see, I think it was the African pricing page, we saw that there was some dates there that were said no solo. So we have 2 in Europe, Ancient Crossroads and our Sicilian Delights and Antiquity, that have no solo any time. So all the dates have no solo supplement. And then, like we saw in the sample for On Safari in Kenya and Tanzania, there's select dates and also luxury tenting in the Serengeti, which we just changed the name to that. I want to say it's now Spectacular. Gosh, I can't remember it right now. Anyway, it's new in the brochure, but it'll still show the no solo supplements. And anybody who's traveling as a solo will all have the same accommodations like everybody else who's a double. There's no differentiating between single occupancy or double. And then these are just some terminology that we've gathered over the years of what agents say about us, just because they're pretty much all fitting. Exotic destinations, I've used that terminology a lot. Small group, we saw that. We saw flexible when it came to our travel styles. Boutique, as far as our hotel quality goes. Strong itineraries, bucket list itineraries. So a lot of these things, and customized, we talked about that too. So there's definitely some strength in all of these descriptions to fit Alexander and Roberts. You're always going to need to go find the savings for any particular program. For that, you go to the website. It's also, of course, listed on the web page for the tour, and it's also listed in the brochure for the tour. It'll always be available, but if you're just looking on the web, you would go to deals, click on that, and then a list more or less like this will come up. And actually, this is the list because those first 3 are what you would see right now if you clicked on the website. Our strongest offer for the year is out there right now through December 31st, and that is $1,000 off per couple and $500 off for solo traveler. Africa always has a $1,000 offer, so that one doesn't change. Family and friends, when 4 or more travel together, then they can save another $100 per person, and you can also combine those. So you can combine the pay in full with the family and friends savings. Okay, now we're going to pop into this little, I'm going to check my time real quick, make sure I'm not going nuts on you here. Okay, not doing too bad. All right, so this is the agent portal up here. I mentioned to you it was kind of a black bar. So to use it, you're just, you've got to be signed in. The one you're going to use most is training and media. You'll click on that. And one of the things you can do in there is you can share our recorded webinars. We do these pretty much every week, around the holidays, different holidays. We'll skip that week if it's, going to be Thursday is Thanksgiving, so we're not going to do one, that week, or usually the week before, because people take off time then. So with that in mind, you can see that, and we always update these. So if I was going to do a Peru webinar this week, then when that one would be complete, we would upload the newest recording to this area and take out the old one. So they're always going to be at least maybe, I think the oldest might be 2 years old. Generally, those tours don't change that much. The only thing that usually changes, if it does, is a hotel here or there. But other than that, you would just right click on the download now button next to the tour name that you're thinking about sharing. Then this little menu will pop out. You would copy the link and then go to an email. Maybe you already had one ready, or you just create one real quick and then right click again and paste the link into the body of the email. So then you send it over to Mr. Cooper in this case, and you can say, gee, you know, we've been talking about this. I thought you might like to be able to see a narrated version of the entire tour, day by day, where you stay, food, cuisine, the activities of each and every day. And I've had agents say it really does make a difference if people maybe are trying to decide if they for sure they want to go to that place, or for sure they want to go with us, or whatever it might be. It just gives them a little more something to think about, and visually stimulated by it, which I think is probably the key there. And then we also do this little mechanism, quote follow-ups. So if you got a quote for any particular destination, here Kara got one for Morocco, so we write to her and we say, you see that you're working on that. If you want to, you can share the destination webinar. We include the link to it, and then just some selling points about the tour that they're working on. We think it's just a way, another way of following up with the client, so that you know they know that you're really interested and you're giving them another tool to use. It's just another time to touch them again, basically, until it's time for payment or something along that order. So those are done in real time. So within the week that we're in, if you quoted, then you would get one of these. Okay, now we're going to look at brochures, ordering brochures off the web. You click on that brochure request button. Then you come over here and click the travel advisor button. Then you'll enter your IATA number, and which will be recognized by the distribution center. Add that in, and then it's only going to bring up the brochures that would be pertinent. So you got Journey, these are old copies, I'm sorry, Africa and the Journeys. So you would, you can utilize it from there. And then for your office, you just click on the cover. The button or a box will come up automatically that asks you to enter how many, then you add it to your cart and check out. So it really is a great way of doing things. The next way I want to show you about getting brochures out is we will send them for you to your clients. So you click on the little letter right below the brochure covers, and then after you've clicked on it, this little fill-in box will come in. So first you want to fill in the client's information, and that populates that into the body of the letter. Then you'll fill in the agency information, which is you, of course, and that'll add your signature, your name, your phone number, your email address, and your company affiliation. And then after that, it will process, and this is how it arrives at your client's home in these recyclable cartons with the letter from you and the brochure. It saves so much time and money. You don't have to worry whether you have the brochure or not, especially if you're working from home or something like that these days. Obviously, you can't keep a stock of catalogs at home, so, and you don't have to pay for it. It's all being win-win-win. So once you have done everything, then you will also, oops, I forgot that I include that slide. You get an email after it's delivered to your client. So that's your cue to follow up and see, you know, what they want to do, make an appointment or something along that line. On the agent portal are also these individual flyers that you can personalize if you're doing a little art show or a bridal show or something like that. You want to have multiple things available at your table, but you can't bring all these brochures in because it's just too much effort sometimes. So these are all available. They're right there on the agent portal. We have grab and go social media images that you can utilize, and they're all JPEG, so you just download now, save it on your desktop, and go to town and social media away. And then lastly, you can create a reading list for your client for the tour or the place that they have chosen to be interested in. So you would scroll down a bit more on the agent portal and go to the name of the tour, and then click on view under the suggested reading column, and then a list like this will come up on the right hand side. You can just do a print screen and put that onto a document if you like. You can even crop our name out. It really doesn't matter to us. We're just wanting to get the information out to people and have you share it. So it always makes you look like a hero because you've given them extra information. And again, people paying these price points and going to these exotic destinations, they like to read up on where they're going and have an idea about its history and what they're going to be seeing and learning about. And then it's so much more meaningful when they actually get together with the guide. They know what they're talking about. So it's just a better way of being informed and be able to really enjoy your trip even more. Our commission levels vary with the consortia that you may be associated with. These are some that we are preferred with so that you can check with your, however you have it in your computer, or a listing somewhere within the organization that tells you the commission level for Alexander and Roberts within the consortia network that you're a part of. And I think, oh, yes, that is it. Remember, you've got the world in your hands with Alexander and Roberts, and you really do. We've always been well known for having the far-flung and unique destinations. And we hope that as you're planning your clients' trips for 25 and beyond, that you may consider Alexander and Roberts for your supplier in that particular case. We'd really appreciate it, and we know that you will have very happy clients in the end. That's what we all shoot for anyway. And I think it's important to know too that even if something happens with your client while they're traveling with us, say it's an illness or something happens at their hotel and they don't like it, whatever it may be, then we're going to let you know by phone from the home office that this happened, here's what we did to rectify the situation, or here's what you can expect for the future refund, or whatever the scenario is. You're going to be informed before they ever get back, which, you know, can really help you when you're trying to do that welcome home call or email, whatever way you choose to do it. So that could be something that you can have in your corner. And that, my friends, is the end of the presentation.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. That was really fascinating. And now I have even more things on my bucket list of trips to plan. So I'm gonna have to
Thanks a lot, right?
I know how to figure out how to fit like 60 vacations a year into my life. I'm not sure how that's going to work.
I wish I could help you with that.
So I am going to take the screen sharing over really quick, and I just wanted to show you guys how you can, how you can very easily adjust your preferences here. As soon as I can figure out how to click the right button. Okay, there we go. So I think you are seeing, okay, perfect. So I am logged in to my NextSite or VacationPort interface. So after this lovely webinar, I learned a ton. I want to go in and make Alexander and Roberts the most preferred so that they show up the most. I'm going to come into travel content here on the left and then click on content management. From there, I can click on either suppliers by name or by type/pref. They'll both get you to the same place, but we happen to already know who we're looking for. Type in just a portion of their name. So by default, if you've not done anything with your preferences, everybody will be marked as no preference, which is essentially everyone having the same weight. So you can mark them as highly preferred, preferred, included, or excluded. We don't want to mark them as excluded. That would mean they wouldn't show up. So what will happen with the other three preferences are highly preferred will show up first within the results, preferred will show up second, and included is the same ranking as no preference, which means they'll show up after preferred and highly preferred. So if I want to set them as highly preferred, simply change that box and save. And now whenever a customer goes to my website, and they do a search where an Alexander and Roberts offer would come back in that search, they'll show up first. So for example, if they search for Egypt or Japan or something like that, if you haven't changed anybody else to highly preferred, they'll show up first. If you have a couple people marked as highly preferred, they'll show up mixed in together, followed by anybody else. We also are doing some other webinars that will walk you through how to create target searches and offer groups that you can put on your site to further feature certain offers. So for example, if you know you have a bunch of clients that would be interested in the Italy by Rail tour, you can make some offer groups, post them on your site, maybe have a little Italy touring section where you talk about Italy in general, and have a module that showcases those offers. Now, the great thing is that as soon as Alexander and Roberts updates their website with new prices or new information, it also updates on your site. So that just happens. You don't have to stress. We take care of it for you.
That's great.
So, yeah, so I am going to stop sharing now here, or at least freeze. And it looks like we did have a couple of questions here.
Okay.
I think you already answered this one, but I'll read it out anyways. Does Alexander and Roberts have any intro videos we could send to clients as well when they're looking for more information? And I think you covered that within the agent portal. So those are there. Do the small group trips usually hit the cap of 16, or does it vary?
It's always going to be a maximum of 16. That will never vary unless you, as the agent, had a small group of 24 people that wanted to do, oh gosh, of course, I can't think of a name right now, Spain by Rail. I'm just going to use that one. And then you could put that together.
Okay. Perfect. And the next one was, how much time do you need to get a flexible private journey together? And then they said, I'm guessing I couldn't book it today and have clients travel tomorrow.
No, that is true. I would say on the ones that are drawn up as a private journey, those are pretty much already put together. And as you correctly figured out, they don't have a block associated with it like it would on a small group product. But generally with those go much quicker than a custom because it doesn't have so many moving parts. We already know what we need to confirm. So mostly those can be done within 48 hours. A custom can take 7 to 10 days, depending on the complexity of what we're working on for you, and or how complex the itinerary is.
That's still a pretty quick turnaround, though.
That. Yep.
And I think this is the last one so far, was just, should I wait for the new Journeys Without a Crowd brochure, or should I go ahead and just order the Africa brochure in the meantime?
Well, you can order both if you like, via those steps that I gave you. And what will happen right now is since it hasn't quite hit the distribution house yet, what it'll do is it'll put it into back order or pending, and then all those orders will be met first. And well, it'll go distribution from the printer. Then when it gets to the distribution house, then it will go by the pending orders first, and then the new orders after that. So you can order them anytime that you like.
Well, fantastic. I mean, that's all the questions I have in here right now. I mean, I personally have tons of questions as far as like, which of these trips should I go on first? But that's the subject of another discussion.
When are we going?
Exactly. What are we going to see? What are we going to eat? Fantastic. Well, then I will close this out, and we will post this for anybody who wants to go back and watch it again. If maybe they, had to step away and grab a phone call and miss something, or anybody that wasn't able to attend. And hopefully we can do another one of these later in the year, and we can chat about some other new cool things that would be of interest to the agents.
Definitely. I'd love the opportunity anytime. And please, I'm sure you could share my info with people, or they automatically get it just by participating in the webinar. But, if you need me for anything, this is what I'm here for. I interconnect with all sorts of advisors all over the country. So let me help you whenever it comes about.
Fantastic. All right. Well, have an excellent rest of your day, and I'm gonna, go on lunch and look through the brochures and see what start mentally planning my next trip.
There you go, hon.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time, and everyone else as well.
Bye.
Here. Bye-bye.